Now, as all of you know, today is the anniversary of Donald Trump's attempted insurrection and clear and concise treachery toward the United States. And Kamala Harris, after her loss to Donald Trump in the last election, has properly, peacefully certified the election and called Donald Trump as the winner of the race.
The state of the vote for the President of the United States, as delivered to the President of the Senate, is as follows. The whole number of the electors appointed to vote for President of the United States is 538. Within that whole number, the majority is 270. The votes for President of the United States are as follows. Donald J. Trump of the state of Florida has received 312 votes. Kamala D. Harris
Now, isn't it interesting? Isn't it funny, guys? Isn't it interesting that no one was outside the Capitol putting UFC combos on cops, trampling over each other, calling for the end of democracy, moving at every whim and command of Vice President Harris or possibly even Joe Biden on Twitter? Nothing of the sort.
Breach of the Capitol! Breach of the Capitol!
All of you went on about your day, respected democracy, and didn't engage in the buffoonery and fuckery that Trump supporters engaged in 4 years ago. Now, I want you to understand something. Trump supporters will sit there and hop on social media and act a fool and taunt us and taunt Kamala Harris, but I have to honestly applaud Joe Biden and Kamala Harris for what they did. You'll see MAGA people on social media saying unbelievably stupid shit like, well, if Donald Trump really was a threat to democracy, why didn't you stop him from winning? If MAGA is not smart enough to realize that if Joe Biden and Kamala really wanted Donald Trump to not win, he wouldn't have won. If they're not smart enough to realize that, I don't know what to do to help them. If they didn't want Trump to win that bad, he wouldn't be free right now. He'd be in jail. That's just the truth of it. The reality is, we respected democracy. If the American people have been fooled and hoodwinked and have just forgotten the seriousness of January 6th, that's fine. If they've been fooled by the likes of Joe Rogan and Tucker Carlson and the rest to believe that January 6th was not that big of a deal, as Dave Smith said on Instagram, if they've been fooled into believing that, that's perfectly fine. Let them believe that. The history books will dignify Kamala Harris and Joe Biden. That's just the reality of it. It's the truth. The reality is, even if Joe Biden and Kamala said, you know what, we're going to actually take our oath to the Constitution seriously and stop Donald Trump from coming into the office even though he won, they can't do it. The American people have zero clue what happened on January 6th. And the Republican Party, alongside their massive media apparatus, have completely washed their sins clean. Half the country believes it was a hoax. It was a riot gone wrong. Donald Trump didn't mean anything by it. It was a mistake. The Democrats set it up. The FBI had agents kicking down doors and bursting through the windows. That's what half of the country either believes or thinks is possible. Joe Biden doesn't have the political support amongst the public to actually stand by the protecting the country from enemies, both foreign and domestic. He doesn't have the capital amongst the people. He doesn't have the will of the people. He doesn't have the mandate. The reality is they did the right thing. They respected democracy. Nobody burst into the Capitol, attacking people, demanding the overturning of the election. And this will be remembered in the history books. But what I want you guys to take away from this is do not forget. Learn about January 6th. Read those indictments. Watch those court sessions. I want you to educate yourselves on this. And I want you to never, ever let MAGA forget. Never let them forget, because I can promise you this. This MAGA is not going to end well for them or for us. And when that time comes, they are going to try to pretend like they never supported it in the first place. You can't allow that to happen. You cannot allow that to happen. These people will act like they never supported this. They never liked it. They didn't know what was going on. It was all Donald Trump. But the reality is Donald Trump could not have done what he did without them. He couldn't have done what he did without his supporters. He couldn't have done what he did without the media, many of whom have every reason to be against Donald Trump because they know better. Do not let these people pretend as though they didn't know what they were doing. Don't let them pretend, because we are all going to learn a very bitter lesson at the end of this MAGA journey that this country is on right now. We are all going to be learning a very, very, very bitter lesson. I want to again applaud Kamala Harris for doing what she said. That's how low the bar has sunk. That a vice president doing what they are supposed to do. And shout out to Mike Pence, by the way. As much as people sit there and say Mike Pence did what he was supposed to do, nonetheless, I want to highlight and respect anyone who stands against this shit. I really do, because we made a mistake honoring and respecting traitors before. All those statues of Civil War generals you see, all those bases that were named after Civil War generals, we made the mistake of honoring treacherous, treasonous traitors before. We made that mistake, and we can't make it again. So, cheers to respecting democracy, and cheers to the massive L this country is about to take, because, oh, yo, we are in for a fucking ride. So cheers to democracy. And cheers to possibly the end of this country, by the way. This might be it. I'm not going to lie. And you see Mike Johnson's smug little honorless and integrityless face as he sits there and claps at Donald Trump's victory. I sincerely hope that Donald Trump does to him what he's done to everybody around him, which has caused the utmost amount of destruction. I hope all of these people who have compromised the values of this country, I hope all of them pay a significant price at the hands of Donald himself. I wish that on all of them, frankly. And seeing Donald Trump's track record, he more than likely will end up betraying half of the people we see cheering him on and slurping up his meat. So it is what it is. If you like the video, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and share my channel. Thank you. I'm out.